The oath of the enemy war had turned the sky red above the city of Valen. Smoke and dust covered everything. Soldiers marched in the streets, their faces hard and tired. In the heart of the city, inside the great hall of stone, Princess Lyra stood in front of General Kale, the leader of the enemy army. Her wrists were tied, and her eyes were fierce. The people of her world, the Valari, had lost the war. Now she was the last hope for her people. General Kale sat on a tall metal throne. He was big and strong, with gray skin and sharp, cold eyes. His armor was black and heavy. When he spoke, his voice echoed across the hall. "Princess Lyra, your father is defeated. Your people have surrendered. Swear loyalty to me, and I will spare your city. Refuse, and everyone you love will be destroyed." Lyra looked at the crowd behind her. Her people watched with fear in their eyes. Children hid behind their mothers. Old men prayed quietly. Lyra's heart ached for them. She wanted to scream, but she forced herself to be calm. She took a deep breath and spoke in a steady voice. "If I swear loyalty, you promise to spare my people?" Kale nodded, but there was no kindness in his eyes. "I promise. Kneel and speak the oath." Lyra knelt on the cold stone floor. She remembered her father's words, "Never kneel to the enemy." But now for her people, she had no choice. The hall was silent as she spoke the ancient words of loyalty. Her voice shook, but she finished the oath. Kale smiled, a cruel smile. "Belong to me now," he said. "If you betray me, your people will pay." The crowd was quiet. Some wept. Lyra felt empty inside. She was a princess no more, just a servant to the enemy. Kale ordered his guards. "Take her to the royal cell. Treat her as a guest, but watch her closely." Two soldiers pulled Lyra to her feet and led her through dark halls beneath the palace. They passed prisoners, some crying, some silent. The air was cold. Lyra's mind raced. She had sworn loyalty, but she still had hope. Deep inside, she promised herself, "I will find a way to free my people, no matter the cost." In her cell, Lyra found a small bed and a single window with iron bars. She sat down, exhausted. She stared at the sky. Somewhere her father was missing, and her people waited for her. Lyra closed her eyes, planning. She would not give up. Suddenly, she heard voices outside her cell. The guards were arguing. "He's not one of us. Why bring him here?" "It's the general's order. He wants to see what a human can do." A moment later, the door opened. The guards pushed a man inside and locked the door. He was tall, with brown hair and a strong face. His clothes were dirty, but his eyes were calm and alert. He looked at Lyra, but did not speak. Lyra stared at the stranger. She had heard stories about humans. They were rare on this side of the galaxy. Some said humans were weak. Others said they were clever and dangerous. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice cold but curious. The man smiled, but there was sadness in his eyes. "My name is Noah. I am just a traveler who made a mistake." The guards left, and the cell was silent again. Lyra studied Noah. He did not look afraid. He looked at the bars, at the walls, and then at her. "Why are you here?" she asked. Noah shrugged. "Wrong place, wrong time. But maybe also the right time." Lyra did not trust him, but something about his calmness made her curious. She turned away, but she could not stop thinking. Why would the general put a human in her cell? Was this a trick? Or was Noah also a prisoner, like her? As night fell, Lyra sat on her bed, looking at the stars through the bars. She felt alone. But now there was someone else in her world. She did not know if Noah was friend or enemy. But one thing was clear, everything had changed. Deep in her heart, Lyra made a silent promise. She would not break under General Kale's rule. She would watch, wait, and find a way to help her people. And maybe, just maybe, this human would be part of her plan. In the darkness, the two prisoners sat quietly, both thinking their own secret thoughts. Outside, the city slept, not knowing that the fate of everyone might depend on what happened in this small, cold cell. The human secret Noah did not sleep. All night, he listened to every sound in the dark prison cell. Lyra pretended to rest on her hard bed, but she watched him from the corner of her eye. Outside, the guards walked past every hour, their boots echoing in the empty halls. Morning came slowly. Sunlight crept through the window, turning the cell a pale blue. Lyra sat up first, her hair messy, her mind full of questions. She was not sure if Noah was her friend or just another enemy in disguise. Noah sat with his back against the wall, calm and quiet. He noticed Lyra looking at him and smiled a little, but said nothing. For a moment, they both stayed silent, just listening to the city waking up above them. Finally, Lyra could not wait any longer. "Why are you here?" she asked softly. "You don't look like a normal prisoner." Noah met her eyes. "You're right. I came to this city for trade, but your enemy caught me. They think I'm a spy. Maybe I am in a way." He gave a small, secret smile. Lyra was careful. "You must know something valuable, or they would not keep you alive." Noah shrugged. "I know a few things. I know how to escape from places like this. I know how to make friends with enemies. And I know you're not really loyal to General Kale." Lyra's heart skipped. She stared at him, shocked. "How do you know that?" He leaned closer, his voice low so only she could hear. "I saw the way you said the oath. Your words were true, but your eyes were not. I've met many people who have to hide their hearts." Lyra looked away quickly. "Be careful with your words. If the guards hear you," Noah nodded. "Of course. But you're not alone here, Lyra. There are others in this palace who want freedom. And maybe you can help them." Before Lyra could answer, the door crashed open. A big alien guard stomped in, holding a plate of food. He dropped it on the floor, making the old bread and soup spill everywhere. "For the princess," he sneered. Then he glanced at Noah, and for the human animal. The guard turned to leave, but Lyra stood up. "Wait, I want to see General Kale. Tell him I need to speak." The guard just laughed. "You'll speak when he wants you to." He slammed the door behind him. Noah watched Lyra carefully. "You're brave, princess. Most people would be scared to speak to the general again." Lyra picked up the food. "I am scared. But I have to do something. My people are suffering. I can't just sit and wait." Noah helped her clean up the mess. He worked fast, his hands strong and skilled. Lyra noticed small scars on his fingers, old and new. "Where did you get those scars?" she asked. Noah smiled a sad smile. "From fighting, from helping friends, from making mistakes. Sometimes pain teaches us the most." Suddenly, a scream echoed from down the hall. Someone was in trouble. Lyra jumped up, but Noah stopped her. "Stay quiet." "Let me check," he whispered. He moved to the door and pressed his ear against it. His eyes grew sharp, listening. After a few seconds, he stepped back, thoughtful. "There's another prisoner being hurt," he said. "The guards are angry." "This is our chance." Lyra was confused. "Our chance for what?" Noah reached into his boot and pulled out a thin piece of wire. "To escape, or at least to learn something useful." He smiled. "Humans are good at getting out of tight spaces." Lyra stared in shock. "How did you hide that?" Noah just winked. "Trade secret." Quietly, Noah worked on the cell door. Lyra kept watch at the window. In a few minutes, Noah had the lock halfway open. He stopped when footsteps echoed in the hallway. The guard returned, holding a shock stick. He looked angry. "Time for your morning check," he growled. Noah quickly hid the wire. The guard opened the door and stormed in. He grabbed Lyra's arm roughly. "The general wants you. Move." Noah stood up quickly. "Leave her alone." The guard turned, surprised by the human's courage, or what? In a flash, Noah grabbed the guard's wrist and twisted it. The shock stick fell, clattering to the floor. Lyra stared in shock as Noah moved with speed and skill. The guard tried to punch Noah, but he ducked and knocked the guard back. Careful not to make too much noise, the guard fell, stunned. Noah handed the shock stick to Lyra. "We don't have much time," he whispered. "If you want to escape, trust me. I have a plan. But you must decide, are you ready to fight?" Lyra stared at the human. Everything she believed about humans changed in that moment. Maybe, just maybe, her greatest enemy could be her only hope. And somewhere, in the darkness outside, another pair of eyes watched through a crack in the wall, someone else who was about to become part of their secret. Escape. Whispers of rebellion. The hallway outside their cell was quiet now, but Lyra's heart pounded as she and Noah stood over the stunned guard. She held the shock stick tight in her trembling hands. For the first time since her capture, hope flickered. Inside her, Noah, the strange human, had fought for her without fear. Noah moved fast. He tied the guard's hands with the same rope that had once held Lyra's wrists. Then he pushed the guard under the bed, out of sight. "He'll wake up soon." "We need to move," Noah whispered. Lyra nodded, but she still hesitated. She looked at the half-open cell door. "If we're caught, my people will suffer." Noah touched her shoulder gently. "If we do nothing, they'll suffer anyway. We can't help them from inside a cage." Those words gave her courage. Together, they slipped into the hallway. The stone floor was cold under their feet. Shadows moved along the walls, cast by the flickering lights. Lyra kept the shock stick hidden under her robe, ready for trouble. They turned a corner and stopped. Another prisoner, a skinny young alien boy with blue skin and bright eyes, stared at them through the bars of his cell. He waved frantically. Princess Lyra, please help." Lyra hurried to his cell. She recognized him. His name was Jael, a messenger from her father's court. He was always full of energy, but now he looked weak and afraid. Noah checked the lock. "Simple mechanism, I can open it." Lyra gripped the bars. "Jael, how did you get caught?" "I tried to bring you a message," he whispered. "There is a rebellion in the lower city. Your friends are waiting for you, princess." "But General, Kale plans to attack them tonight. He has a secret weapon." Noah's hands worked quickly on the lock. He glanced at Lyra. "This is important. Do you know where the rebels are hiding?" Jael nodded. "In the old tunnels under the palace. But they're trapped now. The general sealed the exits." The lock clicked open. Jael stumbled out, hugging Lyra with shaking arms. "I'm so glad you're safe." Noah led the way. "Stay close and be quiet." The three moved through the dark halls. Every sound made their hearts race. Twice they hid behind statues as guards marched past, laughing and talking, never knowing the prisoners had escaped. Soon they reached a dead end, a blank wall with old carvings. Jael pressed a hidden stone, and the wall slid open, revealing a narrow stairway. "This way," he whispered. They slipped inside and shut the passage behind them. It was cold and dark, but at least they were safe for now. Noah pulled out a small, glowing device from his pocket. Lyra stared at it, amazed. "What is that?" she asked. Noah smiled. "A gift from my world. It helps me see in the dark." They followed Jael down the twisting steps until they reached a large room filled with frightened faces. Men and women, old and young, all rebels loyal to Lyra's family, waited in silence. When they saw Lyra, hope lit their eyes. "Princess, you escaped." Someone whispered. Lyra hugged an old friend, Lady Vera, who had been her nurse when she was a child. "Lady Vera, what is happening?" Lady Vera shook her head, her eyes wet with tears. "General Kale is hunting us. He has a new weapon, something from the old times. No one knows what it does, but he says it will destroy the rebels and the city together." Noah listened carefully. He turned to Lyra. We can't wait. If he uses this weapon, everyone is in danger. Not just your people, but even his own soldiers. Jael looked at Noah with big eyes. Who is he? Lyra said simply. A friend. Lady Vera stepped closer. We heard the general captured a human. Some say humans are monsters. Others say they are clever. Which one are you? Noah smiled. I'm just a man who hates seeing good people hurt. I can help you if you trust me, the rebels murmured. Some looked worried. One older man stood up. Why should we trust an outsider? Noah took a deep breath. Because I know how the general thinks. He is proud and cruel. He will not stop until all are under his rule. But I can help you break into the weapon room. I have skills your enemy does not expect. Lyra spoke firmly, her voice stronger than ever. We have no choice but to trust. Noah saved my life. He can help us save everyone. The group agreed at last. Noah showed them a map he had memorized from his short time in the palace. Together, they made a plan. Lyra and Noah would sneak into the weapon chamber at dawn, while the rebels distracted the guards from below. As the night deepened, Lyra felt new strength in her heart. She was no longer just a prisoner or a princess, forced to kneel to her enemy. She was a leader again, with friends by her side. But above them, in the palace, General Kale sat in his war room, watching the city below. He sensed danger coming. He ordered his best soldiers to search every hall and every shadow for the missing princess and her strange human friend. The game of rebellion had begun. And this time, everything would change. Loyalty in question, the stone tunnels under the palace were cold and narrow. Lyra led the way with Noah and Jael right behind her, their shadows stretching long across the old walls. They could hear the distant sounds of boots above their heads. General Kale's soldiers searching every room, looking for the missing princes and the human dot in the hidden rebel chamber. Lyra gathered the small group. Noah spread out the map, tracing their planned route with his finger. The weapon room is here, at the heart of the palace. Security is tight, but at dawn, the guards change shifts. That's our best chance. Lady Vera, still worried, pulled Lyra aside. Her voice shook. Princess, what if you are caught? Kale will make you prove your loyalty. He might even force you to betray us. Are you ready for that? Lyra looked at the old woman's tired face. She remembered how Lady Vera had comforted her as a child, singing old songs during the first years of war. Now she had no easy answer. I do not know what I will do, but I will not let fear decide for me. Outside, a soft knock echoed on the secret tunnel door. Jael, ever nervous, crept to listen. He heard a soft voice, another rebel signal. When he opened the door, a new face appeared. A woman in enemy armor, her helmet under one arm. The room tensed, but the woman whispered, My name is Rin. I was one of Kale's guards. I cannot watch him hurt more people. Please let me help. Noah stepped between Rin and Lyra, protective. How do we know you are not a spy? Rin knelt, laying down her weapon. I swore loyalty to Kale, just like Lyra did. But he lied to us all. He plans to use the weapon on the whole city, rebels and loyal soldiers both. He wants to rule over ruins. The rebels whispered angrily. Lady Vera glared at Rin, but Lyra's heart softened. She remembered the pain of kneeling to an enemy. She offered Rin a hand and helped her up. Then you are with us now, Lyra said. But remember, if you betray us, there will be nowhere left to hide. Rin nodded, grateful and ashamed. Noah watched carefully. He had learned to trust slowly, but something in Rin's eyes seemed honest that the new plan was dangerous. But now they had an ally on the inside. Rin would lead Lyra and Noah through secret passages known only to Kale's top guards. Jael and they rebels would make noise in the lower tunnels, drawing guards away at the right moment. As dawn neared, Lyra's mind raced with doubts. What if Rin lied? What if Kale found Jael and the others before they could reach the weapon room? What if she was forced to choose between saving her friends or her people? Suddenly, a sharp alarm rang above them. Kale's soldiers had found the empty cell and the tied-up guard. Orders and shouts echoed down the stone halls. The rebels tensed, preparing for a fight. Noah squeezed Lyra's shoulder. "It's time. You are not alone." Rin led the way, moving fast through twisting passages and hidden doors. She checked around every corner, signaling when it was clear. Lyra followed, her heart thudding in her chest. They passed rooms full of wounded soldiers, kitchens where cooks whispered rumors, and great halls where banners of victory hung like lies. The palace felt heavy with secrets. Finally, they reached the last door. Rin turned, her face pale. "Beyond this is the weapon chamber. Kale is already there with his scientists. He trusts no one." Noah checked his hidden tools. "We go together." Quietly, Lyra nodded. "If anything happens to me, promise you'll help the rebels escape." Noah met her eyes. "I promise." Rin opened the door just enough for them to slip inside. The weapon room was vast, full of strange machines and blinking lights. At the center stood a giant device, a black orb humming with silent power. Kale and his two top scientists stood nearby, their backs turned. For a moment, Lyra's knees shook. All her fears rushed forward. Then Kale turned and saw her. He smiled, cold and sure of himself. "Ah, Princess, you have come to prove your loyalty?" His eyes flicked to Noah, then Rin. "And you bring the human and a traitor. How?" Touching, Kale raised a small controller. "You can still serve me, Lyra. Lead the rebels here, as you promised in your oath. Help me destroy them, and your people will live." The room grew tense. Noah stepped forward. "She owes you nothing." Kale's eyes narrowed. "Humans meddle in everything. You are not welcome here." Lyra's mind raced. She remembered her oath, her people, and the trust in her friend's eyes. She knew what she must do. She looked Kale in the eye and spoke loud enough for all to hear. "My loyalty is to my people, not to you." Kale's face twisted with rage. He pressed a button on the controller. The orb began to glow, dark and dangerous. The final test had begun. In that moment, everything hung by a thread. And Lyra knew she could never kneel again. The human's courage, the giant black orb in the center of the weapon room, began to glow, humming with strange energy. Lyra took a step back, feeling the air grow colder. General Kale's eyes shone with triumph as he pressed the controller again. The scientists behind him whispered in fear. Noah saw the danger in a split second. He moved in front of Lyra, shielding her from Kale's line of sight. Rin slipped behind a stack of crates, ready to help if things went wrong. The room felt small and tense, every corner full of shadows and secrets. Kale raised his voice. "Lyra, your loyalty means nothing to me now. Watch as I end this rebellion for good." He turned to the scientists. "Activate the device, now." The two scientists hesitated. One of them, a thin man with silver eyes, trembled. "But General, the weapon is unstable. If we use it in the palace, it could destroy everything, even your own soldiers." Kale's anger flashed. "Do as I say." The scientists obeyed, their hands shaking as they entered codes into a glowing panel. The orb pulsed brighter and brighter. Static electricity jumped across the floor. Sparks flew. Lyra's heart beat wildly in her chest. Noah looked at Lyra, his voice calm but urgent. "We need to stop this now. Do you trust me?" Lyra nodded without thinking. She watched as Noah stepped forward, putting himself between the weapon and everyone else. His eyes were fierce with determination. Kale laughed. "What can one human do against me?" Noah spoke loudly so all could hear. "Sometimes one person is all it takes to change everything." With quick hands, Noah threw a small device onto the floor, a silver disk from his own world. Smoke exploded from it, filling the room with a thick white cloud. Kale cursed and fired his blaster, but the shot missed, sparking against the stone wall. Lyra could not see, but she heard Noah's voice, strong and brave. "Rin, now!" From the smoke, Rin leapt out, grabbing the controller from Kale's hand. She smashed it on the ground, sparks flying. The black orb stopped glowing and faded to a dull gray. Kale roared in rage and rushed at Rin. Noah blocked his path, fighting with quick, powerful moves. The two crashed into a table, sending tools and wires everywhere. Lyra saw her chance. She ran to the scientists. "How do we shut this down for good?" The scientist with silver eyes looked at her, scared but desperate. "If we pull out the main power core, the weapon will be dead. But it's dangerous. One wrong move and it could explode." "I'll do it," Lyra said, her voice steady. She crawled under the orb, hands shaking, and found the power core, cylinder glowing with blue light. She twisted it, remembering the old lessons her father had taught her about machinery and courage. The core slid out with a sharp hiss. The orb went completely dark. All at once, the alarms blared through the palace. Soldiers ran toward the room, shouting orders. Kale broke free from Noah and lunged at Lyra. Noah threw himself in front of her, taking the blow. He fell to the floor, breathless but still fighting. "Get out, Lyra!" he gasped. Rin fired a shock stick at Kale, stopping him just in time. "This way!" she shouted. Jael, and Lady Vera burst through the side door, leading the rebels. "We're here! Run, princess, run!" Noah pulled himself up, blood on his lip, but determination in his eyes. He helped Lyra to her feet. Together with Rin and the others, they sprinted out of the weapon room. The rebels fought the guards with everything they had: sticks, stolen blasters, even kitchen pans. The palace echoed with chaos. As they reached the secret passage, Lyra turned back and saw Noah fighting two soldiers at once. He moved like someone born for battle, blocking attacks and disarming his enemies with quick, clever moves. Even Kale's toughest soldiers could not stop him. Lady Vera grabbed Lyra's hand. "We must go now." Lyra hesitated, but Noah shouted, "Go! I'll hold them off." With a heavy heart, Lyra ran with the others down the tunnel. Behind her, she heard the sounds of battle, Noah's brave shouts, the clash of weapons, Kale's furious orders. They reached the rebel safe room. Lyra fell to her knees, shaking. "Noah, he's still there. We have to save him." Jael checked the tunnels. "He gave us time. We must trust him. He's not like any human I've ever known." Lady Vera put her arms around Lyra. "Your courage gave him courage. You are both heroes." Suddenly, the secret door burst open. Noah stumbled in, bruised but alive, holding the power core in one hand and a broken blaster in the other. "We did it," he said, smiling through the pain. "The weapon is finished. Kale will never hurt your people again." The rebels cheered. Lyra hugged Noah tightly. In that moment, she understood that true courage was not just about fighting. It was about risking everything for hope, for friendship, for the chance to change the world. Outside, the first light of dawn shone over the city, and for the first time in many years, Lyra felt a new future was possible. Enemy no more. The palace was in chaos. Soldiers searched every corner, alarms screamed through the halls, and frightened servants ran in every direction. In the hidden safe room, Lyra, Noah, Rin, Jael, Lady Vera, and the rebels listened to the noise above their heads. Each one knew their lives might end if Kale caught them now. Lyra paced back and forth, her mind full of fear and hope. Noah sat on the cold floor, holding his wounded side but refusing to rest. Rin cleaned her weapon and looked at the door every few seconds, ready for trouble. Jael watched Noah with wide eyes, clearly amazed by the human's bravery. "We can't hide here forever," Lady Vera whispered, worry on her face. Kale will find us. Lyra shook her head. No, he won't. Not if we end this now. She looked at Noah, who nodded slowly, understanding her plan. Noah stood up, fighting the pain in his ribs. Kale thinks power is everything, but he's afraid. He doesn't want peace. He only wants to rule. Jael's voice trembled. He has more soldiers than we do, and the city is full of spies. Rin stood and faced Lyra. The soldiers only follow Kale because they are afraid. If they see someone stand against him and survive, they will lose that fear. We must show them Kale is not unstoppable. Lyra thought of her oath to Kale, the way he forced her to kneel and promise loyalty. That memory burned inside her like a wound. I will never kneel again, she said, her voice hard. Noah smiled. Then let's make sure no one else has. 2. Lady Vera touched Lyra's hand gently. You are your father's daughter, and more. Today, you lead not just as a princess, but as hope. Lyra drew a deep breath and looked at her friends. We fight. Not for revenge, but for freedom. For all our people, rebels and soldiers both. The rebels nodded, even the youngest ones. Their fear was still there, but something stronger had replaced it. Faith in Lyra and her friends. Rin explained the plan. I know a way to the main hall. There, Kale will gather his officers. If we can reach it first, we can show everyone he has lost the weapon. He will look weak in front of his strongest followers. Noah added, and I have the power core. If we show it to them, they will know Kale can't threaten anyone now. Lyra smiled at Noah. You are no longer an enemy, Noah. You are one of us. Noah grinned, trying to hide his pain. Let's make history then. They moved quickly, through secret tunnels, Rin guiding them. At every turn, Lyra expected to see Kale's soldiers, but most of the palace was empty. Soldiers were searching useless corners or arguing about the sudden alarms. Finally, they reached the main hall. A huge crowd was already there. Soldiers, officers, palace workers, and even some frightened citizens. Kale stood at the center, red with anger, shouting orders that no one seemed eager to obey. Rin walked out first, her helmet under her arm. Her voice rang loud. General Kale's weapon is destroyed. He cannot protect or control anyone. Gasps filled the room. Kale spun to face her, fury in his eyes. Liar! No one will believe a traitor. Noah stepped forward, holding the blue glowing power core high for all to see. Here's the proof. The weapon is dead. Kale is just a man now, no more powerful than any of you. The crowd grew louder, unsure what to believe. Lyra joined Noah, standing straight and proud. I swore loyalty to him, but he lied to all of us. He would destroy everyone's soldiers, rebels, and innocents just to rule empty ground. Lady Vera raised her voice. We are all Velari. No more fighting, no more fear. Kale, desperate, tried to grab his blaster, but several soldiers blocked his way. Rin stepped in front of him, her own weapon drawn. Enough, Kale, it's over. For a long moment no one moved. Then one by one, the soldiers lowered their weapons. Some fell to their knees, not in fear, but in relief. The crowd began to cheer softly, then louder. The spell of Kale's power broke. Kale tried to run, but Noah grabbed him by the arm and held him still. Your time is finished. Lyra turned to the people, her voice strong and clear. There is no more enemy. We are one people again. We will rebuild together, not as slaves, but as free beings. Tears ran down Lady Vera's face as she whispered, Your father would be proud. The great hall erupted in cheers. Even those who had once served Kale now stood with Lyra and Noah. For the first time, hope was stronger than fear. Rin looked at Lyra. Thank you for trusting me. I am ready to follow you. Lyra took her hand and smiled. No more enemies. Only a future we make together. Noah looked around at the crowd, amazed. I came here a stranger. Now I think I have found a home." As the sunlight poured through the high windows, Lyra knew that the true battle was not won with weapons, but with courage, trust, and the will to unite. She looked at her friends, Noah, Rin, Jael, Lady Vera, and knew that the story of her world was only beginning. Loyalty redefined sunlight filled the palace as the city of Valen woke to a new day. Where there had been shouting and fear, now there was quiet hope. In the main hall, Lyra stood with Noah, Rin, Jael, Lady Vera, and a crowd of people from every part of the city. General Kale, once so powerful, now sat alone, watched by his former soldiers. He looked smaller than ever. Lyra stood before her people, her heart heavy and light at the same time. She saw faces she had known all her life, some once her enemies, some her friends. Now all eyes were on her, waiting for what she would say. That Noah stood by her side, the power core still in his hand. He smiled, bruised but proud. Lady Vera held Lyra's hand for comfort. Rin and Jael stood close, ready to help. Lyra spoke, her voice gentle but strong. "We have all lost much. We have all made mistakes, but today we are free. Not because of one person, but because we chose to stand together. We chose hope over hate." People listened in silence. Some wiped away tears. Old soldiers looked down, ashamed of the things they had done. Even Kale, now quiet and defeated, listened. "We can never forget what happened," Lyra continued. "But we can choose a better future. Not as enemies, but as one people." Noah stepped forward. "I was an outsider. I did not belong here. But you trusted me, and together we ended the fear. That is true strength." Lady Vera raised her voice, shaking but full of pride. "We must rebuild not just the city, but our hearts. We must care for those who lost homes, for the wounded, for the children who have only known war." Rin turned to the soldiers. "You have a choice now. Serve peace or walk away. No one will force you." Many soldiers looked at each other, then lowered their weapons to the ground. Some came forward to help the wounded. The old walls of the palace seemed brighter, as if the building itself could finally breathe. Jael, his eyes shining with hope, spoke to the crowd. "The tunnels can be our shelter until homes are rebuilt. The rebels are ready to help. No more hiding, no more fighting." Lyra nodded. "We must care for each other. If we rebuild together, there is nothing we cannot do." Noah looked at Lyra, respect in his eyes. "What will happen to Kale?" Lyra turned to where Kale sat, guarded but not chained. She walked to him, her steps calm and sure. The hall grew quiet as she stood before the man who had forced her to kneel, who had tried to break her spirit. "General Kale," Lyra said, "your time is over. But I will not become what you were. There will be no revenge today. You will stand trial before the people you hurt. They will decide your fate with fairness, not cruelty." Kale looked up, something like regret in his eyes. For the first time, he bowed his head. I understand." Lyra walked back to her friends. The crowd began to cheer softly, then louder, filling the palace with the sound of hope. Days passed. People worked side by side to clear the ruins, fix homes, and heal the wounded. Old lines between rebel and soldier faded. Children played together. In the palace garden, laughter returning to a place that had known only fear. Noah used his skills to teach the people new ways to build, to grow food, and to protect themselves without weapons. Rin helped train a new guard force, loyal to the people, not to any one ruler. Jael brought messages from all corners of the city, helping people find lost family and friends. Lady Vera started a school for orphans, telling stories of courage and kindness. At night, she sang the old songs again, this time with hope in every word. One evening, as the sun set and the city glowed with new life, Lyra climbed to the top of the palace tower. Noah joined her, the two looking out at the city. Below, "It's beautiful," Noah said, his voice soft. Lyra smiled. We have a chance now. A new world, born from pain but full of promise. Noah nodded. You gave your people something Kale never could, freedom, and the chance to choose their own future. Lyra looked at Noah, gratitude and warmth in her eyes. I did not do it alone. Without you, Rin, Jael, Lady Vera, I might have given up. Noah shrugged, but his eyes sparkled. Sometimes all it takes is one person to believe, then others follow. Lyra turned to face the city, her heart full. From now on, my loyalty belongs to my people and to hope, never again to fear. A soft wind blew across the tower. Below, the city lights danced like stars. For the first time in many years, Valen was truly free. And above it all, Princess Lyra stood no longer just a ruler, but a leader chosen by her people, ready to guide them into a new age where loyalty was not given by force, but by love. The end.